Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Now for global business updates, Bosin Omofaye joins us. Good morning, Bosin.
Good morning, the team.
Good morning.
Vemba, it's good to see you here.
Great to see you as well.
Thank you. Okay, let's get to oil prices. Of course, early Asian trade today, concerns about potential supply disruptions in the Middle East with Israel planning to strike oil producer Iran, and on spikes in fuel demand as a major storm barreled into Florida. Brent crude 0.76% higher to $77.16 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate was up almost by the same percentage, 0.79% at 73.82 a barrel at 612 GMT. And Asia Pacific markets traded higher on Thursday following gains on Wall Street that saw the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average reach new records as investors shrugged off geopolitical concerns. Australia's S&P ASX 200 ended today up 0.43% to reach 8,223 points. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 was trading higher, roughly a quarter of a percent, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was up a much bigger 3.48%. And district traders and policymakers were focusing on the most recent U.S. inflation data to assess the health of the greatest economy in the world. This follows an unexpectedly strong jobs report that changed forecasts for Federal Reserve policy. The headline inflation rate is predicted by analysts to drop from 2.5% to 2.3%, which would represent the lowest level of inflation since February 2021. Core inflation, on the other hand, which does not include volatile energy and food costs, is predicted to remain stable at 3.2%. Now, according to minutes released on Wednesday, U.S. Federal Reserve officials decided to reduce interest rates by half a percentage point at their September meeting because they were unsure how aggressive to go in order to strike a balance between their concerns about the labor market and their confidence in inflation. The meeting summary revealed disagreements among participants over the economic forecast and provided specific reasons for the policymakers' decision to authorize a jumbo rate drop of 50 basis points for the first time in more than 4 years. A smaller quarter percentage point decline was hoped for by certain officials who were less concerned about the employment situation and wanted confirmation that inflation was declining steadily. Now, fuel prices at filling stations run by Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited have gone up once again. In Lagos, fuel, which was previously sold for 885 naira per litre, is now being sold at 998 naira amid long queues. The increase comes following NNPC's decision to exit its role as a middleman in the Dangote refinery purchase deal. This implies that the national oil company will no longer cover the price gap between the facility's price and the selling price to retailers, previously absorbing a subsidy of 133 naira per litre. Now, with foreign local investors' concerns being addressed, coupled with the audacious efforts to boost oil production to about 2.7 million barrels per day, the Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lokpobiri, yesterday said Nigeria remains a titan of African energy, expecting $50 billion worth of investments in the sector before the end of this year. The minister, who spoke with journalists in Abuja yesterday, said that the policy direction of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, in the last year, revolutionized the oil sector, making it very attractive to both local and foreign investors. Explaining that the quickest way to fix the nation's socio-economic challenges was through the oil sector, the minister said the federal government was working very hard to use oil resources to industrialize the country. And those are your global headlines at this time on The Money Show.
At first, I'd like to talk about the fuel issue, because this government has not given me any reason to be able to believe them. So when they say this is the end of the subsidy payment era, and they quote this figure of the money that they were paying before in subsidy was 133 naira. Why did they say that all this while? But they denied all this while that they were paying subsidies.
I guess it's working more of a work in progress.
No, they denied. You see, I'm somebody, it's either here or there. It's the opposite of the truth. It's a lie. They denied all this while that they were paying subsidies. So where did this 133 naira coming from?
But we've got reports all the while, including the World Bank, the IMF, that says, look, the subsidies existed.
Very good. But they kept on denying. That's the first fact. Second fact, has the subsidy been removed? Because we need clarity and we need the truth. A pump price of a litre of Togo is 700 CFA. That's about 1,900. Togo too exports a lot of oil, petrol. In fact, at some point we had imported from Togo, because if you check the bill of that people Nigeria import from, we import from Togo. Togo did over $1 billion The third instance is, what are the production costs? That's what we need to know. These facts are not out there in the public, because you need to be able to, remember I was talking about Chile earlier on, you need to be able to carry people along. And I'm also happy that she talked about the fact that even after the removal of subsidies, it became the Chilean nightmare. Just like when Reagan decided to deregulate the downstream sector in America, you know what Reagan did? Reagan caused one of the highest level of child poverty in America, because it's the people below the rung that will suffer. So this idea of a free market economy that a lot of people are very boisterous about, it's not really free, because there's still an invisible hand of the government that takes the pain off the people.
Yes, that should be there.
That should be there, and that's what is called the subsidy. And that's what the government is saying they want to take away, because they're not telling us the truth about their shenanigans. This same NMPC, with due respect, first denied the fact that they were owing most of the people they were importing fuel for money. When Reuters broke that story weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why can these people be telling us porkies in our face that we're looking at them?
Yeah.
So this same NMPC had denied everything from the start. So when the same NMPC tells you that, the remaining 133 naira, we are waiting before they come and tell another story. Is it that the naira is going up, that's why they're going to increase price again, or what?
Yeah,
because this same President Tinubu promised us that there was going to be a stability in price mid-year last year. So that's why I say it's another series in this Game of Thrones we are playing with crude oil, with petrol prices in this country.
Game of Thrones. All right, Avimba, you're on the throne now.
I'm on the throne now. There's a difficult analysis to follow, but I'll try and put my thoughts together with regards to the U.S. economy and, how we tinker with the tools available to us to manage our economic policies, our monetary policies, which also reflects here at home. It reflects globally, but specifically here at home, because, the interest rates have been quite a talking point, right? So we know we have to respect the paradox that economics can be sometimes, which is that you can push up your interest rates in order to try and slow inflation. But ultimately what you're doing is you're also slowing down your economy. And if you're not careful, that leads to a recession. So I'm just putting it out there that here in Nigeria, as we continue to push these interest rates forward, let's also be careful and be aware that if we push that to a little bit too hard, we're also pushing this economy into a recession. So, that balancing act.
One of the ways
they say they are fighting inflation first. So
one of the ways
all go and die.
One of the ways you can do it first is to build a very robust economy.
Yeah.
And then you can manage these variables of inflation, exchange rate, and interest rate. But once you build a strong economy, it helps you navigate things a little bit better, more like the developed economy.
And just very quickly, just in a couple of seconds, again, so the challenge with that, when you listen to the statement from Senator Heineken Lokbobiri is saying, using oil to industrialize, it has happened, yes, but it's almost an anomaly that one resource is used to industrialize an entire economy.
No, we haven't used oil to industrialize Nigeria.
So, let's be realistic and let's talk about diversification.
That's an open truth, by the way.
Well, Senator Heineken Lokbobiri does not know what he's talking about. So he constantly puts his foot in his mouth. Let him just stay with his allegiance to Nyesom Wike, where he can speak with greater certainty.
Like that, Dr. Abati.
But anytime he talks about oil, the other time he was saying, refineries will produce so. Okay, no refinery is producing anything. Okay, now he was caught off guard there, and now he says $50 billion worth of investment by December because Tinubu is a miracle worker. December is just 2 months away. If the minister has nothing to say, he should keep quiet. Number two, he said the U.S. The minutes of the September meeting came out yesterday, and basically what those minutes told us was that the majority agreed that there should be 50 basis percentage points rate cut. Now what we do not know is what the FOMC will do in November. But in September, we also saw that there was division. So Governor Michelle Bowman wanted a quarter point increase. She was the only person who disagreed, which is unusual because for about 4 years the FOMC had voted unanimously. Today we're expecting from the US the consumer index ratings. Tomorrow we're expecting the producer price index ratings. That's that on the economic front. Now, very quickly, the issue about the economy, about oil. You mentioned oil. You mentioned Asian stocks doing well. Even in the US, the stocks did well. Yesterday, by close of trading, Dow Jones jumped about 500%. S&P 500 also jumped. NASDAQ Composite, you had a lot of growth there because it looks like investors are not so anxious anymore about Israel attacking Iran. There's been, people are calming down,
yes.
but we do not know what will happen. October is a very volatile month, and oil prices may even, let me pivot to oil prices now, may even become more volatile, and the markets may become more volatile. This is just about less than a month to the November elections in the United States. So there are tailwinds, there are headwinds. So we can't say,
and that's not too much of a good news.
We can't say for certain that the market in the U.S. is doing well, or that Asian stocks will also continue to rise.
I guess
Yesterday,
market, yes.
President Biden had a phone call with Netanyahu, but my big takeaway there is Israel threatening that, look, when Israel hits Iran, they will know that something happened, something will happen. They will not know how it happened, but they will see the results. So within the context of geopolitics, about the markets and about oil, we can't say, oh, this is certain. Nothing is certain.
It's always a moving target.
Yes, certainly. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you to the team.
And in India, Tata died. Ratan Tata.
Tata.
Described
83
as
or so.
86. Described as a business titan.
Built an empire.
And praised to high heavens by Narendra Modi as a man who had a soul, who had conscience. He loved dogs. He loved scuba diving. He loved, cars also. After all, Tata, produce
and Dr.
cars.
Let me tell you something very importantly.
Yes.
He was never married.
Well,
that bombshell we need to finish.
Well, he said he kept dogs because anytime any of his dogs died, he felt lonely.
Yeah.
That's what the author of the story of Tata tells us.
But he was
Thank you
never
very
married.
much.
Yeah, he was never married.
Why are you stressing? He was never married. He was never married.
Moving on.
I feel you on that. It's okay, yes,
You think that's good
greatness
company?
He was never married.
Greatness is not attached to marriage. All right.